Today we have so many choices, yeah. We can choose from so many things, so many options, and in some ways that's a good thing. On the other side, it can be confusing. Like, which way do we go? Which direction do we head in? What do we choose? What's the best path to go down? There's so much we can do, and sometimes we spread ourselves thin, trying to go down so many different paths at the same time. That's where this comes in, this book here, Essentialism, by Greg McKeown. And Martin, I don't know where I got the Martin from. Martin Keown is an Arsenal player, isn't it? I think I got that confused. Greg McKeown, yeah, here. And literally, when I looked at this bit here, yeah, you see that, like the mess into this. That's literally what it can do for you reading this book. You feel what I'm saying to you? Is that change, is that transformation. So if you're an overthinker, if you're unorganized, if you have like trouble making decisions, that somebody that is indecisive, I'm telling you that this book here is a game changer. And I'm gonna go into like what it is. First and foremost, you've got to recognize this here. As soon as you begin to simplify things, your life becomes a lot more simple. You feel what I'm saying? It talks about the concept of less being more. Do less, but because you're doing less now, it's actually like the less that you're doing has a bigger impact, you know? So you do less in your life, but doing less has that bigger impact. So that's what the concept it talks about, amongst many others. But the overall thing that I'm gonna go in for you and what it's gonna be able to do for you is allow you to do less and have a more effective life, simplify your life. If you're an overthinker, it gives you like simple things to go on and how to create that change, yeah? So without further ado, let's get into it. What's going on? My name is Christopher Daniels, and today we're going to be looking at this right here, Essentialism by Greg McKeown. That's what it is. I just want to talk about the life lessons that I've learned from it. I would say before even getting further into it, they've been valuable, you know, they've been valuable. So I just want to share some of them with you. Most importantly, the concept of doing less is more is actually more. I think that's one of the biggest things that we can take from this, and that's the compound effect. So if you're not familiar with the compound effect, what it is essentially is if you do something small over a certain amount of time, you keep doing it, repetition over a certain amount of days, because you've done something small, you got a small result. For example, going to the gym, you work out, you see no results, but you do it over a certain amount of time. The results begin to compound, and after like a year or after 6 months, after a month, you begin to see results. Basically what this is talking about is doing things over a certain period of time, like being consistent with them, not necessarily spreading yourself thin and trying to do so many different things at the same time. It's choosing the things that are essential, yeah, that you think are important, and whatever you think is important to you, what you value, choose that and then allow that to compound over time. So essentially, with the compound effect being present, is like the question that you have to ask yourself now is, what do you want to compound? You feel what I'm saying to you? Like, what area, what do you want to compound? If you want to, again, become bigger in the gym, you know, or you want to lose weight, you want to gain muscle, again, using the gym there, how much time are you going to spend? What sort of program are you going to do? And with that being your goal, it's like focus on that for a certain amount of time. Make that something that's important. Make that something that you do over a certain amount of time, that repetition. That's something that's essential to you. So as an essentialist, what you would do is you will make that a priority, and you will allow that to compound. You wouldn't spend a little bit of time watching TV or this or that and you know. You could, don't get me wrong, it's not to say don't do those things, but the most important thing there, a lot of the time will be allocated to that goal, you know, getting in shape. And you will, by saying yes to, also this is another point, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to multiple other things. That's another important point that he speaks about in a book very frequently. You're saying, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, and vice versa. When you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. Whether that's, again, like you're starting something off, and somebody says to you, okay, cool, you know that you've got a business call at a certain time, or you've got a certain meeting. That's a boundary that's kind of in place already. You got a meeting, and that's a priority at the time. Somebody says to you, okay, cool, they would like to go out to eat at this time. You say, no, I've got dinner. You know what I'm saying to you? It's a priority, and you can see that. That's something that's pretty clear. But sometimes our priorities are not as clear as that. If somebody says to you, let's go out to lunch when you've got work, you know that that's not going to work. So you wouldn't, it's easy for you to say, no, I'm at work that time. And that's an easy no. But there's certain situations where you have a free day, for example, or a free day, quote unquote, and somebody says to you, okay, let's go out to eat. You know that you've got stuff to do, and you know that you want to build something and you're working towards something. So saying no might be challenging. But when you say no to that person, you're actually saying yes to working on whatever it is that you got to work on, or you're saying yes to just having a relaxed day and recuperating, like resetting your mind, or whatever it is, like whatever is your priority. So that's why Essentialism is a great book for anybody that's starting off in business, or somebody that's wants to be productive in a certain area of their life, somebody that overthinks. Definitely, I recommend that this book is read through and you are able to pick up some of the gems. Yeah, one of the main takeaways for me personally has definitely been less is more. You feel what I'm saying to you? That's definitely a main takeaway, and how that works for me, or how I see that to be something that is true. It's like, say for example, I am doing something right now, like I'm cleaning, for example. I'm doing up cleaning, I'm organizing my room, I'm doing only that, and that's the only thing that I'm doing. You feel what I'm saying to you? When I start to add things in, for example, I'm trying to clean, watching TV, and I'm going to get a snack in between, because I'm doing so many things at the same time, as you can see, that what would happen after a certain amount of time is I might get distracted. The process will take longer. I might do it a little bit, then forget about it. But when you look at do less is more, that whole concept is just focus on doing less. Just focus on doing what's important right now. And then after a certain amount of time, what you're gonna see is that what you've done, because all your focus is on one thing, things are gonna grow. See, that same concept applies in many different ways. You focus on doing one thing, and that's in a way of just cleaning, boom. Like, you're gonna clean a lot quicker. Your priority becomes gym, boom, over a certain amount of time. You will get better at the gym. You focus on starting up a business and you're focusing on sales, for example, and you wanna develop the skills of becoming better at sales. You focus on that, and then after a certain period of time, you become better at sales. Essentially, the book's called Essentialism, you know? Essentially, the essentialist thinks of what they would like to do, like what are their priorities, what is important to them, and once they know what's important to them, once they know what their priorities are, the objective at that point is then to say, okay, cool, this is what's important to me, these are my values, and from this point, what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna work towards this, I'm gonna work towards doing this, and this is the approach that I'm gonna take. And you've got things down that you've got a method down that you're gonna work towards, and because you've got a method, it makes things a lot easier, as opposed to like, what should I do, nah. Essentially, this knows exactly what they wanna do, and then they take everything out. They say no to everything else that's not important or that's not essential at that point in time, and they focus on what is essential, and then they keep going with that. You know, that's the drive, that's the main thing, and that's what you got to recognize. If something's not important to you, take it out and then focus on what's important. And then once you know what's important and you're focusing on that, you're going to begin to see growth, because that's what you've been putting your focus on. And again, what we focus on is going to grow, you know? And that's the main thing that I want you to take away from this, yeah? Again, I'll bring it back for you here. Essentialism, yeah? This is what we want to do. This is the transition that we want to make, yeah? We want to make a transition from this, yeah, to this. Literally, yeah? So from this over here to this. That's the transition that we would like to make, yeah? So don't stress, don't panic. Just make that transition, yeah? If you've enjoyed this video, make sure that you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of the future ones. And other than that, I will see you again very shortly, yeah? Blessings.